Hey Chef, how you doing?
What's up, man?
Hey, cool. First off, thank you for coming here. We appreciate having you. You know what I'm saying? We just thankful overall, man. Welcome to the
Absolutely.
club, right? So I want to get right into this, Chef. Tell me, man, what got you to cooking, man? What got you to want to be a chef?
Oh man. Well, we go back to the cooking. I was a latchkey kid, one of three in our household. I was a middle kid. So my mom, both my parents worked. So two-parent household. And probably by the time I hit 11, 12 years old, I'm coming home from school, and you know how your mom would tell you to make sure you take that food out the freezer
Right.
before you go to school and put that chicken in the sink.
Yes.
So it went from that to she would call me and she'd be like, "Hey kid, that chicken that's in the sink, I'm gonna tell you what to do to it. Turn that oven on." Man, I wasn't trying to hear none of that. Cause I'm from that era, man. We was watching Yo MTV Raps. I'm trying to talk to the honeys on the phone.
Right,
I'm like, she was like, either you gonna do it or else. So I ended up doing it.
Of course.
Of course. So it just went from there. So I went from starting her dinners to she walked me through, and I ended up cooking them.
Okay.
And I stand on the shoulders of great cooks in the family, man. My mom is from Arkansas. My dad's from Mississippi. Both my grandmothers great in the kitchen, a host of uncles and aunts, and even my dad. My dad was already a cook. He was I'm from Memphis, so he burned on that grill. Everybody, from Memphis, they think they can do that, but not everybody. But he was a pit mouse. He do his thing. And later in life, he ended up going to culinary school because he got hurt on the job. And so part of their settlement with him was that they sent him back to school, do whatever he wanted to do. So he went to culinary school. So his second career was a chef, man. So I kind of got the best of both worlds. I got the ultimate cheat code is what I like to call it. I had my parents, my grandmothers, and aunts, and then I picked up some of the stuff that he learned in school. And I still call him to this day and be like, "Hey pops, what I need to do to this?"
So what made you want to be a chef? I mean, you did the cooking, so,
Yeah.
so what
Well,
transition?
Man, I tell you what, the way things are now, pandemic rolled around, and out of necessity, I became a chef. I work in the film industry. The film industry completely shut down during the pandemic, so I'm sitting at home. I couldn't do nothing. And that's when my wheels got to turning, and I was cooking and making these reels and these videos, and maybe I should, take this talent, this gift that I was given and do something with it. And at the same time, it could help me support my family.
Right.
And it was born from that, man. I ended up, stepped out there on faith and started doing it. Kind of got mentored up under a few chefs. I networked with some people, and that's the great thing about social media, man. I didn't know anybody, but I met some chefs, social media. They was willing to say, "Hey, come work under me a little bit. See what we do, see if you like it." And then went from there.
So since becoming a chef, what challenges do you face trekking it alone?
Everything is going up in price. So of course you have to pass it on to the customers. It's through no fault of anybody except for the powers that be that setting these prices. The cost of food, everything, utensils, everything that you need to use is going up. And sometimes you get that perfect customer, they ask no questions. They like, "Hey, what's your price?" Boom, I got you. Then you get customers that be like, "Well, wait a minute, they're not saying that you're trying to cheat them, but they kind of want to know what things are. But a lot of times people don't know the ins and outs of what goes into what you're having to do. So if you got an event, especially an event where you're doing it where the guests are coming through and just picking up like samples. So all that stuff have to be bought unless the customer's going to buy it. So you've got to buy the little forks, the little cute little cups and stuff that they see that, and now everything is over the top. Everybody wants this stuff over the top. All that stuff costs, and it has to be factored in to the expenses. And I'm not going to eat that cost, and that's something that has to be added to it. And so I think a lot of people get caught up in just thinking that it's food only, but it's more to it than food only. And I think that's part of it. And even for me, that is kind of tough because you'd be like, okay, in the beginning, I lost a lot. I had some breaks. I had some bad breaks where that was my fault. I didn't really properly calculate like I should have, but that's the growing pains of learning business, the ins and outs. So, you got to put yourself into a position to where, you got to, like they say, dot your I's and cross your T's. You got to make sure everything is good. So at the end of the day, you come out on the black, instead of being in the red.
I understand that. Okay, I get it. I thank you for that. So tell me, what sets you aside from other chefs? Why should somebody book you versus booking another chef?
Well, I'm different in a lot of ways. Music motivates me more than anything. Everything that I work through works with music, especially with food. I can't cook in the kitchen without music. So if you book me and you got me coming in, you're gonna get a soundtrack, and I'm gonna be cool. I'm gonna pair it to what you like, because I mean I'm multifaceted when it comes to music. I like more different genres, so I'm not just stuck on one. So I'm not gonna come in your house and I'm just gonna do 21 Savage and that's gonna be it, because that might not be that crowd that you cater it to. So you have to be able to be versatile when it comes to that. So I think bringing that dynamic in, it kind of makes you more personable. I got the gift of gab. I talk a lot. I like to joke. Comedy is like another love of mine. So I fuse all that together, and you kind of get all that into one. And then plus the gift of making great food and just doing different things. And I think that's what kind of sets me apart a little bit.
Okay. All right, thank you for that. And last question, Chef. What's your favorite ingredient and what do you use it the most?
I got this thing, man. I call it Chef Ked's Way. And Chef Ked's Way is jalapeno and fresh garlic. Jalapeno and fresh garlic. I know people be like, man, what? But if you do it right, you're gonna get the flavor of the jalapeno, but not the heat. So I take the seeds out, of course, and normally I saute the two together. Saute the two together. You can either do it. Some people like, I like butter. Butter makes the world go round. But you got people that are be more health conscious, so you can do grapeseed oil, olive oil. But just the fragrance that you get from those two fused together, and I pair them in a lot of dishes. And sometimes you don't even know it's there. But I call it Chef Ked's Way. So I just gave you a little secret, but
awesome.
It is what it is.
That's all right. That's all right, Chef. Well, we appreciate that, and thank you for doing this. And again, welcome to the club.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate y'all.
Yes, sir.
All right.